Welcome to the Coach Jeff Garrett Show, where each week I bring you short, bite-sized podcasts filled with powerful ideas that you can use at home and at work. I'm a thought leader that believes you can have success while living life out of balance. I'm glad you're here. Let's get the show started. Are you open, curious, and committed to learning? Or are you closed, defensive, and committed to being right? Think about that for a little bit. How do you generally lead? Have you ever worked with a leader that was always right and they always had to be right? What was it like to work for that leader? In my own case, I remember working for somebody that was like this. He had hired me to start a mortgage division for his bank. And he had told me that I was going to be able to make all the decisions. I'd be able to run the operation. And after getting started, it became quite apparent that he was going to make all the decisions, even though he had never run a mortgage company before. So he was very closed-minded. In fact, he was Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. He would berate people in front of other people. And I remember one time that he did it to me and I just got up and left. And he's like, "Where are you going?" I'm like, "I'm not going to let anybody treat me like this." And as you can imagine, I did not stay there very long. He thought he was really easy to work with. He asked for other ideas and he asked for things to do differently. And the thing is, you know what? He never did anything differently. He just did what he decided he was going to do. He was an extremely intelligent guy, but his decisions weren't always the best. And he listened, but he didn't take action on anything that anybody provided. He just did it his way. It ended up being his way or the highway. So many people left, and as you can gather, I left too very shortly after starting there, within a year. You know, I found that there's many leaders like this. And this can be a career limiting move for a leader to be below the line, as it's called, in their excellent book, The 15 Commitments of Conscious Leadership, A New Paradigm for Sustainable Success. Authors Jim Detmer, Diana Chapman, and Kaylee Warner Klemp talk about being above the line and below the line. Being above the line is being open, curious, and committed to learning. Being below the line is being closed, defensive, and committed to being right. Now, we all work below the line at times, and working below the line is being in scarcity, while being above the line and leading from above the line is leading from abundance. The mark of a really good leader is to have self-awareness, to realize, am I above that line or am I below that line? And when I do realize that, hey, I'm working from a closed, defensive, and committed to being right, then I have to have the self-awareness to realize that I'm there and I need to make a shift. I need to shift to being open, curious, and committed to learning. We all work below the line at times. In fact, we spend a lot of time there sometimes. And you need to realize that, hey, I'm below the line and I need to make a shift to be more open, curious, and committed to learning. And to go above that line is what separates a leader that's self-aware from one that's not self-aware. You also lead better when you're open, curious, and committed to learning. I want to clarify here real quick. The issue isn't about being right, because you can be right as the leader. You can have the right answer. It's about wanting to be right and fighting to be right and proving that you're right. This is below the line mindset. There's an example in the book that they gave, and it's a really good example. What does 2 + 2 equal? 4, right? How much time are you going to spend defending the answer is 4? Even though you're right in this situation. Let's assume that you have a situation at work or at home right now. Think of one that you have. Is it a 2 + 2 = 4 issue? Or is it something that there could be multiple ways to solve it? Let's be honest. Are you certain that your way is the right way to solve it? Is it wanting to be right or being seen as right? Is it being validated and appreciated for being right? This is actually what most people want. Most people want to be validated and appreciated, and it all ties to ego, right? When things are simple, like 2 + 2 = 4, you don't have to defend those decisions. It's just the right answer, and you aren't going to spend a lot of time doing it. But in a situation where it's not 2 + 2 and it's another type of issue, you have to ask yourself, are there other ways it can be done? Are there other answers other than my own? Are there better ways? So how do you shift when you're below the line and you've had that self-awareness that, hey, I'm operating below the line. I need to get above the line. The first thing is to realize that you are below the line and you want to get above the line. Ask yourself the question, where am I right now? Am I above the line or below the line? Am I willing to shift? Key question. And if you are willing to shift, there's a couple things that you can do. Number one, and it sounds silly, is conscious breathing, but it does work. You do 4 breaths, 4-second inhale, hold for 4 seconds, and 4-second exhale. It'll change your state. Another thing to do to change your state really quickly is to change your posture. Let's say you're sitting with your arms closed, your legs crossed, or your elbows up on the table. Shift your posture. Think about it. Are your hands clenched? Or is your jaw clenched? Relax. This is the first step to making the shift. The next step is mindset shift. Be curious. Ask questions to determine why the other person or team member is thinking the way they're thinking. I'm curious. Tell me why you think that way. Out of curiosity, why do you say that? Why do you see it that way? How do you think it could be done differently? Commit yourself to self-awareness and commit to living in curiosity. Have questions like, I wonder what I can learn today. I wonder how I could get this done in less time. I wonder who I could learn from today. Commit to shifting from below the line to above the line. Make a list of your own curiosity and wonder questions. Thanks for listening, and be audacious. Please share this podcast with your friends and coworkers.